This is a historic run. They're the greatest to ever do it. They're putting numbers on the board. Concord is the LeBron of failing. This is absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like this. Shutting down a game only 2 weeks into its development. And I can't help but think that this was so avoidable, and not in terms of like Concord itself. Like, I think Concord was kind of cooked from the start. Just the fact that Sony has, for whatever reason, PlayStation has just approached live service in the completely wrong way. The way that Sony should have gone about handling their live service should have been to leverage their existing IPs, because they were kind of starting to do that. They had in development a bunch of live service things that were based off their established IPs. They were doing The Last of Us Factions, they were doing Spider-Man The Great Web, and they were doing a Twisted Metal game. And those were the 3 that got canceled. And I understand on paper why they got canceled. It's because those are from single-player studios, first-party single-player studios that are known for single-player games. And creating a live service and maintaining it for years and years and years requires so many resources that you would essentially be turning a single-player studio into a live service studio. And so I understand why you cancel it from that perspective, but Sony got it half right. They went out and they acquired new studios and new talents to take over those live service things. So expanding into the live service space wasn't going to diminish their single-player output. That was the whole strategy. And so why would you not acquire something like a Firewalk, have it incubated at the studio, like have Naughty Dog incubate and create the first steps of Last of Us Factions, and then give that project over to a live service studio that you acquired because of their live service track record. Like Firewalk is a new studio, but they are made up of Destiny alumni. Like, they're made up of old Destiny people and Bungie people who understand how to do a live service. That's supposed to be the whole sell of Firewalk. And so why would you not hand them over Last of Us Factions? Now at this point, we required you to work on our live service stuff. We're going to pass Factions over to you. The same thing with the Twisted Metal and the Twisted Metal game and the Great Web. Give those over to these live service studios that you acquired, like Haven, like Firewalk, like Bungie. Instead of having Bungie try to revive Marathon, why don't you give them the Horizon MMO game that's rumored to be in development? Acquire new talent for these things and then hand them off projects that people are already excited about, that already have a track record of interest. People were already interested in these things. I don't understand why you wouldn't have handed it over to them. It could have been such an easy slam dunk. It would have made everybody happy, and also would have ensured that these games retained what was cool about them. If you have Insomniac incubate the Great Web and nail what people already liked about the Spider-Man games, and then you give it to a live service studio in order to take and run with and manage over the course of years and years and years, you're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to get a product that is true to the core designs of the original franchise, built by the original team, and then maintained by a live service studio that understands how to take that stuff and continue to evolve it over the course of years and years and years. Because here's the thing, I kind of understand Sony's wanting to do live service. I obviously, from a player perspective, a lot of people are tired of live service. We don't want live service. But if you're thinking about things from a business perspective, I understand why they were we need to expand a live service. Under capitalism, businesses need to expand. We need to touch new markets. We need to find new areas of revenue. And look at Fortnite, look at Hoyoverse, all of these things. They're just kind of printing money of live service. We need some of that in our portfolio. And so, I understand them wanting to expand to live service, but, the way that they chose to do it is baffling to me. It is so hard to cultivate new IP for a live service thing, because this requires an investment of the player. They're going to want to invest their time, invest their money for years and years and years, and getting people in on a new IP, a new property, I think is just a really hard prospect for a live service. That's why so many of them fail. I think one of the biggest successes of Fortnite is actually because of how much it leverages already existing IP. People are excited to jump in because they want to play as Solid Snake or Batman or Spider-Man, and I think that's a key to a lot of its success. And then every other live service that kind of pops off from a new IP, I think they just kind of got lucky with it, or they were the first to market with a new type of live service thing. Overwatch was kind of the first of its kind in a lot of ways, and so that's kind of why it popped off so hard. But anytime you're trying to replicate that, I think you're just going to run into a lot of difficulties. especially with something like this that I have no idea how it made it out of focus testing. Like, I don't know how it blows my mind how many people had to look at Concord and be like, yes, I like this. Let's do this. And at no point in this process, and at no point in this $100 million 8-year process was anyone like, this is not going to land. Not because of, the woke DEI agenda, like that's made up, that's not real. This just looks generic. This just looks so derivative of so many other things that, again, the reason why Guardians of the Galaxy was successful is because it was in a lot of ways like the first of its kind. Things are inspired off of Guardians of the Galaxy, you know what I mean? Guardians of the Galaxy was new and weird when it came out, and now so many things are just compared to it. You can't be like, let's just do that and it'll pop off. It popped off because it was so different at the time in terms of like the other kind of superhero movies that were being made. And so this is derivative of Guardians. This is derivative of Overwatch. This is so derivative of so many other things. And there's not like a very distinctive style or anything happening here. Obviously, this is all stuff that people saw coming. This is like not news to anybody. I say all of this to get to the point. And so when it comes to bringing Concord back, like I don't know if there is any point in bringing this back. The thing people are not excited about is like the IP itself. People are just not excited about this property. But I don't want Firewalk to get shut down. I don't want people to get laid off. They're a very talented team. They clearly know how to make a live service thing if they're ex-Bungie people. They apparently made a fun game, like gameplay wise. Like apparently it's pretty fun to play. I haven't played it myself, but I've heard good things about the actual moment-to-moment gameplay. The thing that people just don't like and aren't excited about is the property. So take that team, take that talent, take the groundwork that they laid with this, and then just give them either Last of Us Factions or the Great Web or the Twisted Metal game, or Horizon MMO that's apparently in development, and just give this to them and have them take that and run with it. Utilize the talent at the studio. This has been a loss. But take this as a learning lesson. I think like the thing that you get out of Concord is like you learned a lesson from it. But yeah, maybe they could bring it back with more interesting character models, more interesting shaders, more interesting maps. Like there's things that you could fix about this to make it more compelling. But I think ultimately people are just at this point poised to like not really like this game. That's the thing. It's like it's so easy to get people on board and excited about these live service projects if it's an IP that people already care about.